Low resolution versus high resolution. If you guys are looking from it from afar, it may look fine for you guys. And it technically might even print since they're both transparent. But if you actually take a closer look at the artwork, you'll notice some big differences between that and a lot of improvements that can be done. And if you guys just don't have the capabilities to do any artwork, we do offer artwork services. All you need to do is submit your order to us, put on the notes that you're looking for artwork services, and we'll go ahead and get that done for you guys. Let's go and take a look at these artwork. So I'll use these two eyes as an example. From the top point of view, you guys can definitely tell that this is a lot sharper than this. So this is blurry, you've got some pixelated lines, some blurriness. The colors are not as bold and nice as this. This is just nice and sharp. So this right here, guys, was a 72 DPI image, and this is going to be a 300 DPI image. We definitely prefer to print with 300 DPI. Now, next thing we're going to do is flip this around. Now, one of the main things that you'll notice, you might have hazy prints like this. This is because it was a very low DPI artwork. When we are putting on the white layer, and we normally contract the layer behind so that it adds that white layer. If it's a sharp graphic like this, you see a little black outline and you'll see the white that's within it. This is so that when you press this onto a fabric, you're not going to see this white edge that's around there. That doesn't look professional. So that's what you get when you have artwork like this, fuzzy backgrounds, this little white ring. It just doesn't look good, especially if you're doing it on a dark color garment. So just to show you guys how this looks, I'm just going to go ahead and use this shirt as a sample. I'm going to press the good design up top right here, and I'm going to press this right here. I know the shirt's backward, but I'm just showing you guys as an example of how it looks. All right, let's let this cool for a quick second. Look at these results. I'm just gonna peel and then do a second press first. So peel away. I'm gonna lay this down. And I'm gonna flip this around. Actually gonna flip both of them around. Main reason for this is because, again, it was low quality and the contraction was above here. That's why you guys see that white rim. If you guys left it this way, it might transfer over. So we definitely recommend flipping that transfer sheet over for that second press, or use a parchment or craft paper. Okay, now that I have both of them off, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the results. So you guys can see there's a white outline halo here, is because it did not contract properly. And that's why you see this white halo ring. It's just not great, but you guys can see the vertical lines that are down on the shirt. This shows that there's enough pressure from the heat press. Now let's look up top right here. It's contracted perfectly. There's no white rim around here. It's just beautiful. You just see the eyes. So let's take a zoom back at both of these artwork. One has that nasty outline, one doesn't. 172, one is 300. So you guys know if you guys are getting prints like this, it definitely boils down to your artwork. You guys make sure that you guys using good artwork, you guys get good results. Now, one last thing, if you guys have no program to test or check out your DPI, you can always use our built-in gang sheet builder on our website, transfersuperstars.com. Choose the Gang Sheet Builder Pro. You can drag and drop artwork on there and it'll show your resolution so that you guys know exactly what you guys are printing. The first tip and trick I'm going to share with you guys is with your Teflon sheet. So it's important to use a Teflon sheet to help protect your transfer and make sure that it doesn't prematurely lift off. But it's been a hassle to always load this in there and press it. So one of the tricks that you can do is order a bigger Teflon sheet and use magnets to have it wrapped around the top of the heat press like this. So it's just held on by magnets, since this is magnetic, and it'll keep this sheet on here, and you can continuously use this without having to stop and deal with this, because it happens more than once where I forget to use this while I'm doing a big production run. So that's the first tip I want to share with you guys with the Teflon sheet. The second thing is, guys, using a microfiber cloth. So using a microfiber cloth really works, especially if you're dealing with fine details. You want to help get that temperature regulated throughout the transfer. It'll also help rub down the transfer to make sure that it sticks on a lot better than you would. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys as an example. Again, I know that the shirt is backward, but for video's sake, I'm going to use it this way because I'm gonna show you guys our method of how we peel this transfer. Looking at this artwork, it has a drip effect so that you guys see that the dripping is coming down towards this way. And so when you're peeling, you don't want to peel against the grain. You want to peel from top down so that it is nice and smooth. So that's how you kind of look at the angle of the transfer and know where to pull and peel. Another tip is you can always crease the top right here prematurely so that it is always going to be there and you can easily grab that and peel if you're doing some quick runs. That also helps save some time. But going back to the main thing is going to be the microfiber cloth. So what you can do is you can load this on here, heat press this 300 degrees, 7 seconds. You will get our cloth. We're going to go ahead and wipe down the transfer. Again, this helps make sure that the transfer is on there really well. This always helps. It's a little tip that I like to use, and I still use it till this day, especially when you're messing with very expensive apparel. You don't want it to mess up for whatever reason. And this helps, again, operate a lot quicker because once it's done, you guys can grab the corner of the transfer and peel. Everything is nice and clean. Flip it around, put it back, go for that second press. Now you guys seen I just used the exact same film and I went for that second press. This saves time, it saves money because you're using the exact same sheet. We use this, a lot of people like to use parchment paper like this, which is also very good, and you can get it off of Costco. You can get, I believe, a 3 or 4 pack for about $12. We like to use the parchment paper as well, but our problem is when you're doing a bunch of t-shirts, after about 4 or 5 shirts, this starts to vein. It starts to crease up, and that crease will transfer onto the transfer. So after a few uses, you're gonna have to dump the parchment paper. So that's one of the main reasons that we don't love the parchment paper, even though it's a nice product to use. Another option that you can use is gonna be craft paper. You can buy craft paper, butcher paper, or even go to the Home Depot and pick up some butcher paper for free. And this gives it a nice matted look. Again, just so it's not as shiny. Again, just make sure that you guys keep an eye out for veining like this. Any wrinkle like this will transfer onto the artwork. If it's an artwork like this where there's a lot going on, it's not noticeable, but if you're doing with a pure white or pure solid color image, that veining will be apparent, and that's not gonna be very good because you can't press that off. So that's the other thing that you can press with. The last thing that you can press with is a finishing sheet like this. We got it off of Stalls. I'll have a link below in case you guys are interested. A bit pricey, but this textured product, silicone product, does give it a nice screen printed look. We still use this a lot on hats because it gives it a nice finish to it, and it'll give it a nice embedding once this gets printed on. So again, I've heard this getting compared to a lot of screen prints. So that's one thing that you guys can use to change the finishing of your transfer. Now, last thing I want to cover, again, heat press pillows. Very, very important when you're dealing with fabrics that are level or raised. You're dealing with blankets, with anything that has a buckle, has a zipper. You definitely want to use a heat press pillow underneath to help dampen out the heat press so that you also get rid of these marks. So as you guys can see right here, I do have some bit of a scorching mark that happens when there's a lot of pressure on your heat press, and you see that right there. It will go away after a wash, but we don't like delivering shirts like this, so in order for it to prevent these scorching, we definitely recommend padding this with a heat press pillow. It'll help you out with that. Again, going through a garment like this where there's a lot of zippers, or you're doing a neck like this, you want to make sure that the pillow's there to help absorb it, or else this heavy denim stitch is going to be in the way. So you definitely want to use a heat press pillow when it comes to scenarios like this. Lastly, with the right type of heat press pillow, you guys can do even sleeves, leggings, anything that is the shape of this heat press pillow, you're able to do. With this one, it barely cut it, so we actually combined 2 of these together in order to get the full length of that sleeve. All right, guys, so I'm going to show you guys some example. This is our sample pack. It can be ordered on our website. So in case you guys don't have any transfer or artwork, head over to our website, order our sample pack so that you guys can be testing out our colors and how easy it is to use. Now let's get back to exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to share some tips and tricks on either when you should cold peel or hot peel your transfers. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the artwork. This first piece of artwork right here, we have a urban version of our Mickey. And as you guys can see, it's a pretty solid design. I'm going to go ahead and cut out also this YouTube. We're also going to use that as an example. So what I mean by solid is that this is a one-piece design. There's no splatters or anything like that. Everything is nice in one piece. It's easy versus this artwork right here, that this QR code, which is very detailed, this goes to our YouTube, but if you turn it around, it's made out of all these tiny little pixels. So you want to make sure that if you want to ensure that all this detail gets transferred through, you want to let it cool down. Don't rush it, because if you have a sensitive item like this where you're missing a few pixels, the QR code is not going to work. So I'm going to show you guys how or when to cold peel or hot peel this transfer. I'm going to try to replicate a problem by hot peeling a detail like this to see if it's going to be an issue. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, because most of the time I'm trying to replicate something, it just doesn't work that way. But this is again a precautionary step that I want to take with you guys. So again, this is going to be the Mickey design. I'm just going to move it here as a sample. Let's just go ahead and push it back here. I'm going to go ahead and give it a quick crease right here so that it'll make it nice and easy for me to peel. 300 degrees, 7 seconds. Ideal world, peel. There you go. Take a look at that. Peeled perfectly. All the edges are there. All it needs is a second press. Very beautiful, guys. Now I'm going to try to replicate that exact same thing onto a finer detail like this, where there's a QR code and there's a lot of lips. So let's get this QR code laid down. I have the corner pop. I'm going to try to hot peel this even with all those fine details, but keep in mind this might damage, but I'm just going to do it just to show you guys what could happen. And let's hope that the transfer gets damaged so that I'll show you guys my point. So I'm pulling it out, going to grab the corner, peel. So it transferred fine, guys. Everything was okay, but that is something that could happen. I've seen little tiny details like that break away, especially if your heat press doesn't have enough pressure and you're barely heating it. It will definitely not peel away. But again, I'm using cheat code. I'm using a really good heat press here that has good pressure, so that problem will less likely occur. So I'm going to try to do it now, again with these letters. Tiny, tiny letters, all standalone. It's one shape, but it's a lot of standalone and breaking points. I'm going to see if I can replicate that issue of just breaking it by peeling too fast. Okay. There you go. So guys, I peeled it too fast, and this is what happened. I'm going to show you guys. It's a damaged transfer. I don't like damage transfers or sending damage transfers to customers, but most likely, again, this is a user error because there wasn't enough cool time period on this one. It's a small detailed with a lot of rocky lettering. I definitely recommend letting it cool down. Again, I'm going to replicate that one last time. I'm going to use an artwork like this where it is a full-on image, drip effect. I'm just going to pull straight down. I'm not going to have to worry about whether I'm cold peeling it or hot peeling it. It will peel fine because it is a larger object. Grab a corner, peel. There you go. Lay it down, do a second press. There you go. And again, guys, one of the things that I also want to talk about that I didn't point out as much is the way that I am peeling these transfers. So last thing I'm going to press is going to be this virus monster image that I have here. I'm going to be pressing onto here. Again, now I'm going to be talking about the way I'm peeling. So let's go ahead and get this one set up. I'm actually going to let this one cool down so I can explain the process to you guys better. So it's already pressed. Now, one of the things that I see a lot happening when people are peeling is that they are grabbing the transfer and they're peeling away from the shirt. You're pulling away from the shirt like this way. It's not very, very strong. You're not going to get a good peel. What you want to do is use one hand to actually hold down the shirt. And then where you're closest to the area that you're peeling, you're going to use your other hand. And instead of peeling up and down, you're going to be peeling left and right. This way, you're not forcefully lifting the transfer off or away from the garment. Rather, you are gliding it away from the shirt. So again, one hand holding the shirt down, one hand creasing it, and I'm going to peel this way. I'm going to use the flex of the film to pull away. And as you guys can see, everything was transferred nicely and clean. So that's how you transfer it completely. And again, flip it over and double press for the second time, and you should be good. Let's talk transfer mess ups. So let's say you pressed on the wrong design, the wrong size, the wrong placement is a little bit crooked. What are the options? What can you do? Now, I've heard a lot of times people saying, hey, can you put a transfer on top of a transfer? The real answer is yes, you technically can, but should you do it? I don't know. You really got to see for yourself. I definitely don't recommend as far as longevity because it's not intended to be stuck onto another transfer. But if you're doing something to fix up issue, if it's like a one-time use t-shirt or something that you don't really care about, you just want to fix it to get the work done and don't want to buy replacement blank shirts, you technically can put a transfer on top of a transfer, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this. So let's go and take a look. That's how it looks. So I'm going to do a second press, and then I'm going to give you guys a quick stretch test so that you guys can see what's going to happen. Let it cool down a bit, of course. All right, so there you go. I'm going to let it cool down. Now, I've seen all types of ways that people do cover-ups. I've seen them increase the design by 1 or 2 points and try to align it and press it on top. I've seen people getting a lot bigger print and just trying to mask it over it. Now it's cooled down, you guys can see it's pretty good as far as the durability. You guys can see the transfer that's underneath here. So it's not completely covered up. But overall, this is the stretch. I am stretching it really, really tight. And it is still pretty good. Now over time, this may wrinkle a little bit. This is just not as intended. We don't recommend it this way, especially if you're selling it as a retail quality shirt. I would probably not advise doing it this way, but a cover up, hey, this might work for what you guys are trying to do. Now on this topic, another thing that I want to cover is removing transfers. Can you remove it? The answer is it really depends. If you're dealing with something fine like these little details, you might be able to knock it out. But if you're doing a big artwork like this, guys, it's more than likely you're not able to remove it. Now, what are you guys removing it with? We know that there's different products out there. We haven't tried them all. We really don't like to depend on removing the transfer at that point. But you guys might stop by your Home Depot or Lowe's and pick up paint thinner like this, which is acetone. This works as well. Soak it in on a rag like this. Press it onto the fabric and then slowly rub it off, and it may come off. I've seen it work better on smaller details versus larger ones. If you don't have acetone, you might also try nail polish remover. So give those two a shot. It might work for your small projects. Again, that's just a tip to help you save some time and possibly some money. Now we're gonna talk about DTF storage. Where can you guys keep this? Where should you guys keep this? We recommend storing this in a cool, dark environment. Don't leave it in your car. Don't leave it in the sun. Don't leave it in the garage. Leave it in a nice, dry environment. If it came in a tube, keep it in the tube. Keep it in a box. Keep it in a bag. But also keep some of this. That is silica packet. This helps. You can get this off of Amazon. But this, again, helps keep moisture from building up on your prints, because the last thing that you want is some oily prints for your transfers, right? And there you have it, guys. Thanks for following along on this long tutorial where I talk about all the pros, cons, tips, tricks, mistakes that we learned along the way with DTF, and we want to share it with you guys. We definitely appreciate you guys following along on our channel and commenting when you guys can and learning from this channel. And in order for us to grow, we need you guys to hit the like and subscribe button and share it with your friends. Again, my name is Phil. We hope you guys found value in this. I'll catch you guys on the next one.